1. A popular cosmetics store is closing in my country. I went in yesterday after hearing of the closure to stock up on some hypoallergenic items, not knowing that they were already running their clear-out sale, making everything 75% off. To say the store was picked over was an understatement. It was damn near empty. I was lucky that they still had inventory on exactly what I wanted. When I got to the front of a very long queue, a wild Karen appears, cutting in front of the line that is no less than 10 deep. She demands that they look in the back for a rose-scented hand cream she was unable to find on the sales floor. The woman at the counter assured her that all the inventory they had was out on the floor, and that if she was unable to find the item, they were sold out. A normal person would accept that a store with mostly empty shelves probably does not have the inventory to fill those shelves. Not a Karen. She understood, "We don't have it," to be the start of the conversation. The associate called out next, and as I approached the counter, Karen held out her arm to block me and said, "I'm not done yet." Karen is insistent that they find her item and will not take no for an answer. She continues to badger the employee, pulling out winning lines like, "It's the only item I can use," and "You had it yesterday. I've been a customer for years. This is the 3rd store I've been to." The employee with each statement reiterates that what you see is what we have. Still not satisfied, Karen, of course, asks for a manager, refusing to move until the manager appears. At this point, I say to her, "Could you please step aside while you wait so the line can progress?" This was met with her rudely telling me to mind my own business, in less than polite terms. I've done my time in retail, and live for the moment when somebody pulls out an F-bomb, and I am sure the associate, having enough, was also happy to ask at this point that she leave the store immediately for being rude to other customers. Unfortunately, a Karen only has one mode, and that is to escalate. I have now committed the cardinal sin of making a reasonable request of a Karen, and have inadvertently made myself a target too. She then turns back to me and yells, "See what you've done? I'm just trying to get some help here. Now they're throwing me out because you couldn't keep your mouth shut. If this was somebody in trouble, you would probably mind your own business, but no, you have to be a bitch because I'm just trying to get some service." A few of the customers in line join in calling her a Karen and noting that she was, in fact, the one who was unable to keep her mouth shut. This only emboldened her to champion for her right to rose-scented hand cream. She then begins to berate every customer who dared question her approach to the situation. Everybody is a bitch, everybody needed to shut up, we just didn't understand customer service. Finally, the manager appears with a bin full of remaining hand cream. They had no less than 5 other varieties, just no rose. The manager is offering alternatives from what limited stock they had in a futile attempt to de-escalate. However, Karens don't understand de-escalation. Now Karen is already shaking mad over $3 hand cream, and proceeds to call the manager stupid for not understanding rose, and then helpfully spells out R-O-S-E. The manager says again, "We are out of stock," noting she has offered alternatives, and if none are suitable, then there is no further assistance they can provide. She tucks the bin under the counter and then says to Karen, "If there's nothing else we can help you with today, you need to leave before we are forced to make you leave." Finally, accepting defeat, Karen leaves, not before knocking several products off a display table on her way out. I use their hand cream, it's pretty good. I prefer the vanilla scent, as the rose smells almost as crappy as Karen's attitude. 2. A roommate's mom asked me to drive to pick her up from an airport 2 hours away. Gets mad when I come, and she leaves with her son, bailing on rent. Backstory. Before I start this post, I want to get some facts out there. Firstly, I'm going to a college that has no student dorms, so you have to rent an apartment that's close enough for you to get to school. Second, this all happened almost a year ago, so wording is paraphrased a lot. And lastly, this post would be too long if I posted everything I experienced between those two, so I'm going to focus on one story and some background. I met my roommate when I moved down for college. I put a lot of money into the apartment, furniture, the security deposit, several months' rent, paying off my entire half of our lease. His mom practically screamed addict when I saw her, though everything was always good between us as far as I could tell. She also called me her second son a few times. In May of 23, my roommate's mom was flying down from her house to both visit her son and to bring the rent payment for that month. Our apartment was around 30 minutes from the airport, so due to not having a car, we asked a friend to pick her up for us. On the day of the flight, I got a message from roommate's mom.
Hey, so I accidentally booked a flight for an airport that's further away, about 2 hours, instead of the local airport. I can send you some money out of the rent, and you can go rent a car to come pick me up.
I talked with a good friend of mine who had been picking me up for school to see if we could use her car instead, and have roommate's mom pay for gas. My friend agreed, and we set up to leave after our class, which was around 5 p.m. Roommate's mom didn't like this at first because her plane landed at 3, so she would have 4 hours or so to kill before we could get there. But no matter what, it was going to be like that, and I explained that to her. So she agreed in the end again. Come the end of class, friend and I head out to start the journey to the other airport. While on the road, I get this text.
Hey, so you can just turn around and go back. I have some friends here, and I want to give them some gifts I brought down with me from home, and I don't want to waste your time.
I'm a little annoyed that we had already been driving for 30 minutes and text her back. But friend and I are already on the road and have been here for 30 minutes, plus rent is due tomorrow and you have to pay it. Roommate's mom and I have a little back and forth, and she says that she understands and gives me a new address to pick her up from. That's around 4 miles from the airport. Where are we supposed to pick her up? Now me and friend have fun on this car ride, blasting music and talking video games, until when we are about 20 minutes out, I get a new text from roommate's mom saying her location has changed, and that she's got a hotel room and to just go back. My friend was not having any of it though, because it had been almost 2 hours of touristic traffic. We go to college in a tourist area, and we had a mission to do. When we get to roommate's mom, she actually agrees to come with us, packs her things in the car, and asks if me and friend had eaten yet. We hadn't, since we both normally eat after class, so she handed me $100 to go to a local diner, and said she was going to just drop off the presents with my friends. My friend and I eat, and when we come back we get into my friend's car, and I text roommate's mom that we are here. Now, before I continue, we had left around 5 or 6, and got there around 10 due to the traffic. Dinner made us stay out until 11. Friend and I were tired and just wanted to go home. Roommate's mom texted me back saying 10 more minutes, which was annoying, but we agreed. And then another 10 minutes and another and another. This went on until 1 in the morning. At that point, friend had enough of it. We go to see where roommate's mom is at, and lo and behold, she's at a bar that opened at midnight. I text her saying to get out or we would drop her stuff off in the bar and leave. While we needed her for my rent, my friend and I had a class the next day, which was in less than 12 hours at that point. Roommate's mom started ranting about how,
I'm a mother that doesn't get to see my son that you live with. You don't understand what it's like to be unloved and taking care of kids who hate you, so just screw off with it. You won't leave anyways, you need me to pay the rent, and if you leave me I'll just go back home and you can suffer eviction.
At this point, my friend and I had enough of her. For some extra context, at the time, friend and I were both 18. We felt betrayed by roommate's mom, took her stuff out and left it with the bouncer who was outside the bar. We then name-dropped her and got told, "Oh, stay the hell away from her if you know what's good for you kids. She's bad news." Friend and I had a laugh as we went back to the car. Now a little extra info. We would have been fine waiting so long if it wasn't that 1, we had class the next day at 11, 2, the car was leaking something. We were unsure what it was, and it seemed to just be a minor water leak. Roommate's mom bitched at me on text as friend and I drove away. We just laughed it off until the car broke down, and in the end, we had to get a motel room so that friend's dad could come down the next day and try to help us fix the car. Roommate's mom kept texting me and changed tone to angry to,
"Are you okay? This is why I said you shouldn't come. I just had this feeling something bad was going to happen. You should have stayed home and not come,"
yada yada yada. Honestly, I just wouldn't respond other than my text of, "Because you wouldn't listen to me. Friend and I had to go to a motel to stay the night. Hope you're happy." Was I a bit mad? Yes. But I also had been up since around 8 a.m. and it was past 1 in the morning, and I was done acting like I could put up with her. The next day, my friend's dad was angry about what happened and said she was lucky Friend and I were 18 because otherwise he would sue the living crap out of her. I should mention, Friend's dad is a lawyer, don't mess with him. He took Friend and I out to get some lunch while we attended our class online with permission from the teacher due to what happened. Just a month after that happened, roommate's mom forced her baby boy to move out and back home with her. Mind you, her baby boy was the oldest in his group minus his brother in his mid-20s. They also tried to force the leasing office to remove his name from the lease because
it was unfair that he wasn't living there and still had to pay.
The leasing office did everything they could after he left. They worked with me until my money was all gone, around $10,000, and I had to move out due to eviction. Although on records they moved it to collections and only put my ex-roommate and his mom on the papers so that I wouldn't be bothered. 3. This is a story and rant about a Karen couple, being my brother-in-law, Ken, and sister-in-law, she'll be the Karen. FYI, I'm Asian, and we stay with our parents, that's important. So my husband and I had dated for 8 years before getting married, and I heard a lot of stories of their entitled attitude during that time. So when we got married, I was prepared and expected some drama, but man, was it some drama. Their drama is never-ending, and can create drama out of anything and everything. There are a lot of small incidences that I would like to mention, but that's for later. So first of all 4 of us work, and we earn much better than Ken and Karen, and that is a point of jealousy for them. Also, my side of the family is better off financially, and also relations. A joint family, my uncles and aunts and their kids stay together and have good relations with each other. This also makes Karen complain that I come from a big rich family and am allowed to do whatever, as if she has restrictions. My mother-in-law and father-in-law are very kind and good people. Also, they are very old. Since Ken is the first child, he is very spoiled. He needs to be spoon-fed everything. He's about 38 years old, and he can't even write an application for himself, and requires father-in-law to do it for him, and since Karen saw this attitude when they got married, she does the same. They think they're entitled to father-in-law's money and resources. They're always out for him when he spends money. Although it's his money, they try to keep him in check. One time, Karen even asked him for his bank statements to see where he was spending. Father-in-law is retired and doesn't have much income due to loans and stuff, but he still runs the house, like buying groceries and taking care of Ken and Karen's children, and is still undermined and humiliated by them. And it's worse with mother-in-law. They treat her like a maid who is to clean for them, cook for them, and take care of their children, and then get complained about that she's not doing her best. After we got married, the drama has gone above and beyond anything. Karen tries to compare herself with me on everything, like she's a better cook. Of course, with about 8 years more experience than me. It would be a shame if she isn't better. Everything we do together, she is comparing us. Although she acts all friendly in front of me, she bitches about me all the time to others, including mother-in-law and father-in-law. We have overheard a lot of remarks and complaints about me from Karen. They had a habit to go to mother-in-law and father-in-law late at night after they thought we were asleep. They used to shout and complain that we, me and my husband, were getting preferential treatment. Mother-in-law and father-in-law indeed do treat one couple with more preference, but that's not us. Since they, Ken and Karen, are the older couple, and mother-in-law and father-in-law are aware of their entitled attitude, their opinions and preferences are given priority so that some drama can be avoided. But they are never satisfied and always have something to complain about. Karen works in a different city while Ken stays with the in-laws. while my husband and I used to work from home post-COVID. So when she comes home on vacation, she comes like every month, that's a privilege itself, and then expected me to handle all the chores while she would enjoy bitching to people on the phone. My office hours are 2 p.m. to 11 p.m., so I used to help mother-in-law with chores and the kids from morning till 2 p.m. They rarely contributed anything financially, even when father-in-law asked, which was very rare. Father-in-law is so disappointed and unexpecting of them that if he ever needs financial help, he contacts us, and of course we help because it's the right thing to do. We take helping family as a responsibility while they consider it a tedious task. They don't even take care of the kids properly and just keep complaining that mother-in-law and father-in-law are responsible for the rotten personality of their son. Whatever you may say, kids learn and mimic their parents first before anyone else. This kid sees his parents disrespecting the grandparents, so he does the same. He behaves a bit in front of us, especially me, because I don't tolerate bad behavior and he gets some beating, and that is always after at least 2 verbal warnings. Some people might think it's unfair of me to discipline someone else's child, but I'm taking care of your kid. I very well will be disciplining them. I got very stressed and have anxiety issues because of all this. They have ruined many family relations because of their entitled attitude. Only a few near and dear relatives visit mother-in-law and father-in-law. Others have cut them off because of them. Well, a lot of things happened, and now my work required me to go to the office. We had to move out to a different city, and recently it has gotten worse back home. Mother-in-law and father-in-law have to take care of the chores and kids alone. We recently visited home on vacation, and probably, we are not sure but it seems like it, we think that Ken has either quit his job or was fired from work. He never used to take more than 1 day leave from work, even when Karen was pregnant or his kids were sick. But now suddenly he took 1 week off to take care of father-in-law. He got a minor eye operation for a cataract. And then he acted like going to work for a week while we were home. We assume he was acting because of his sudden change. He used to dress up well for the office, but suddenly he wore more casual clothes, and he went to the office late and came back early, while it was vice versa till now. Sus. So Ken's son is a headache, a spoiled brat, and he is uncontrollable for father-in-law and mother-in-law, and the daughter is just a toddler. As soon as we came back from home, father-in-law calls us distressed that Ken has traveled to Karen's place for a few days without proper reason or explanation. The son was sick, and father-in-law is also still recuperating from the operation, and there was planned maintenance at home which required some heavy shopping and monitoring. He was aware of all this and still left at such a critical time. Father-in-law and mother-in-law are very frustrated and stressed. It's infuriating how entitled and shameless people can be. And we called in a few days later, and guess what? He's back and just staying home. So now we're sure he's been fired from his job. Definitely fired because of his high and mighty attitude. Well, a few days went by, and father-in-law let us know that Ken has landed a better earning job, and we're hoping now that he'd be more reasonable. But entitlement is like a bad habit, easy to come and hard to leave. And I just want to clarify, when I say beat the kid, doesn't mean I hit him with stuff or punch him. It's usually a slap or two. As I mentioned already, it is always verbal warnings first. If later, when I have my own kids and they'd get disciplined by other family members for doing something wrong, I won't mind it, rather I would encourage it. But that is if I'm not able to handle my own kids first. Now if strangers do it, or someone does it for no reason, they will be responsible for the consequences. 4. Hello, Royale friends, Devil Bear here, and holy cats, I just came across a Karen in the wild. This was like something you'd never see in a million years during lunch rushes, but when it happens, well. So picture the scene, my workplace, 3 employees, myself included, with one manager trying her best, but with a case of strep throat, plus a bunch of demanding customers. I had one customer on hold, did drive through completely from my recollection, when said manager asked me for help. The problem, a Karen wondering about our mix and match deal. So we switch. This had then transpired. Here goes.
Do you have Whoppers?
my workplace's most popular sandwich.
It's part of the deal.
We actually don't, since we got that eliminated from the deal last year, particularly last February of said year. Our choices have now been revised to the Big King, the Single Quarter-Pound King, the Impossible King, the Big Fish, and the Original Chicken Sandwich. So which ones would you like? She grumbles a little, but eventually says, I just wanted a sandwich that has onions and mayo and tomatoes. So I ended up ringing her 2 Whopper meals, ask her if she wanted her meals unzipped to medium or large. Her request of onion rings instead of fries. I ask her for here or to go, the usual. But here's when things went berserk. I told her the total of $2 something. She went into inquisical anger, asked why the cost. I told her to the best of my knowledge the price of the meals plus the replacing, both fries for onion rings, were a dime each along with tax. Then she asked what the price is if the meal was medium. I show it to her. All of a sudden she went into some outlandish rant about price gouging, rather colorful language tutting about the works. She ended up leaving with the typical Karen phrase, it's,
I'm never coming back here again.
In my own head I was thinking, cool. But mutter under my breath, goodbye, bad rubbish. Then took care of the rest of the customers, whom looked at Karen with disdain. I apologized to them about her actions. They took it with a grain of salt. Everything went completely normal after. Then when I was on my 10-minute break, the utter thought came back to me tenfold rather late. I told both my manager and the nighttime manager this. I should have said to Karen, is that a pinky finger promise? Man, I wished I'd said it. But I didn't. Being a demanding, entitled customer in the drive-thru is one thing, but having this in some comical sense is Yowzer Babraham Lincoln. Just simply, folks, if any work spots are short-staffed, plan ahead with alternative choices. Or better yet, stay home. Five. For context, I am a 20-year-old with a semi-stable job at McDonald's. I've been working there for 6 years, so I know the coffee at the back of my head. It's basically engraved at this point. I also have a chronic baby face. I've been called a teen before, and when I go to get scratch tickets, so many people think I'm like 14, which is fun. Now, for what happened. So it's late at night, around 8:20 p.m., and a car comes up in the drive-thru. I'm doing both the cashier and taking orders, so I take her order. My brain is a little fuzzy, so the words might not be exact, so take this with a little grain of salt. Hi, welcome to McDonald's. How can I take your order?
Can I get a small fry and a small coffee with 9 milk?
I'm sorry, 9 milk?
Yes, 9 milk.
Keep in mind, our milk portions are large. 1 milk is equal to 2 cream, so that's like getting 18 cream, and it would fill up a whole entire small coffee. It will basically be just milk, are you sure?
Yes, that's how I want it.
Okay, that will be it. I give her the total. At the first window, please. She sounded old, so I gave her a senior discount on her coffee, but she never notices that. She pulls up, and I was right, she was old, and she has like a cross necklace or something on her wrist. So she's very Christian. Nothing against you guys, y'all are great. But this is important for later. She hands me the money, and I warn her, are you sure you want 9 milk? It will be cold, and barely any coffee.
Your coffee is strong. Don't you do things like Dunkin', where you pump the milk?
I shake my head. No, the milk comes from a separate machine, and it isn't heated. It's automatic how much milk is poured.
Well, can you make it 2/3 milk and 1/3 coffee?
At this point, I just wanted to get the order done, so I hand her the change and say, all right, I'll make it myself.
That'd be a good idea.
So I run up to the front and tell my coworkers I will make the coffee myself, and yes, she said 9 milk. I put in the milk first, fill it 2/3 of the way, then pour the hot coffee in and stir it. And holy hell, is it cold to the touch. But I warned her, so we should be fine, right? Alright, here you go, 2/3 milk and 1/3 coffee. Tell me how it tastes so I can fix it if needed.
Hey, was the coffee hot when you put the milk in? I touched the bottom and it was really cold.
I put the coffee on top, 2/3 milk and 1/3 coffee like you said. She then opens the coffee and doesn't even taste it and dips a finger in.
Can you raise your right hand? I have a Bible in the car, you know.
I confusedly put my hand up, softly saying, Did I do something wrong? I can try to. She then thrusts the cup at me, her voice a little harsh.
Look, can you just throw this in the microwave? Or I'm gonna get you fired by your boss.
Okay. I walk away, defeated and done with this lady. I go over to the microwave and get some help, as I haven't really used it much, as it's mainly used in breakfast and I work nights. I microwave it with some help and go back to the woman. Here, how's this? Is this better?
Thank you. You know, you shouldn't accept his money. You know what I mean? It's just bad for you.
What?
There's some advice for you. Good night.
And she drives off. What a jerk. Hellfreezer's note. I gotta know. Who's his money? Is she talking about the almighty dollar of the devil? Does she think the clown is Satan? Well, I guess we'll never know. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Idiots in the Wild, episode 161. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. And if you'd like to get early access to these videos, and I mean early, right now the birds are chirping outside as I'm recording this, that's how early it is. You can get them on the Monday, all the videos for the week, by supporting me on my Patreon page. As a little thank you for, well, helping me get through these tough times. You'll also find a link to the Hellfreezer merchandise store in the description, as well as a link to the Hellfreezer Discord and various other bits and bobs. If you'd like to leave a tip, if you really enjoyed today's video, then you can do that by clicking on the heart with the $sign underneath the video. And you don't have to do any of that, but I appreciate it, and I'm very grateful if you choose to do so. Okay. I don't think we've any other business today, so let's move right along to the question and answer of the day. And today's question is, what is your favorite movie soundtrack? Bit of a difficult one for me. I do own a few movie soundtracks. It depends on my mood. It's a toss-up between, as I've mentioned before, I don't really do favorites, but I do favorites of the moment. So it's a toss-up between the Crow soundtrack, some amazing songs on that, and Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, because I actually just kind of enjoy almost all of the things that's on that. It's very much evocative of the time in which the film is set, but good all round, and Tim Blake Nielsen does a really nice job. At least I think it was Tim Blake Nielsen who was doing the singing on that one. Anyway, why don't you let me know what you think in a comment below. And before we go, let's have the answer of the day from a previous video. And this answer comes from Idiots in the Wild, episode 145. And I think it was, what is your favourite wintertime warm-up? I think mine was hot chocolate. So let's see what answers we have. Today's answer comes from Jame Ann. The Whisper Gold hot chocolate has been discontinued as per notice from Cadbury. Ugh. I had feared as such, but you break my heart, Jame. What can I say? My favourite is mint tea with a teaspoon of clover honey. Honey in tea is always very, very yummy. I sometimes like to put it in coffee with single or double cream, depending on how fancy I'm feeling. Thank you very much for your answer, Jame. And with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.